Can I? Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to WCAP's International Women's Day 2026. WCAPS Nigeria has, over the 5 years of its existence, approached peace building in many ways and incorporating the expertise of its members. In 2005, the following activities were conducted. In April, August 13, 2005, there was a session on policy prejudice and of identity in big data. In August also, WCAPS Ghana was relaunched. In September, in September 2025, we had a session on climate change, food security, and national security. Several of our members attended events in which they played prominent roles. This year's theme, Give to Gain, encourages us all to put in our contributions to uplifting women and girls. This year's theme also focuses on right, justice, and action for all women and girls. This initiative highlights the urgent need to advance the gender equality by ensuring that every woman and girl, regardless of the background, location, and socioeconomic status, will have equal access to opportunities, protection, and decision-making spaces. Um, while progress have been made globally, persistent inequality exists due to cultural bias. Persistent inequality due to cultural bias continue to limit women's rights, restrict access to resources, and reduce their participation in leadership, education, technology, and economic development. It is on this note that WCAP Nigeria wishes all women and girls a happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatima, for the opening speech. Prof is not around, and I think we must also mention that she's in transit, so she will not be able to join us early enough. But I hope she's able to join us before we end the call or um any other time. And I think Chioma will want to take the citation for the guest speaker, and I think our guest speaker is already on the call, and we're happy she made out time early. Chioma, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Musa. I want to welcome everybody to this edition of WCAP's Nigeria International Women's Day celebration. And I'll quickly want to read out the citation of our guest speaker for today. He there advises the Gates Foundation's President for Global Development on International Affairs, Protocol, Advocacy, Government Relations, and Strategic Communications. In this capacity, she supports a team advancing global health delivery with a focus on immunization, polio eradication, primary health care, and emergency response innovation, and the promotion of global health exemplars. She previously worked in the Gates Foundation Global Policy and Advocacy Division, Communication Division, and the Office of the CEO. Prior to joining the Gates Foundation, Heather served as a Foreign Service Officer with the U.S. Department of State, most recently as the Staff Officer of the Secretary of State. She also served as a political military officer in Tokyo, Japan, where she supported the US Japan Security Alliance, and as vice consul to the US at the US Consulate General in Guangzhou, China, where she advocated non immigrant and immigrant visas and assisted US citizens in southern China with routine and emergency services. Prior to her foreign service career, she served in the Department of State Bureau of Foreign Affairs, Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs, and Bureau of Diplomatic Security, as well as at the U.S. Embassy in Pretoria, South Africa, where she covered South Africa's international relations and human rights policy. He there studied anthropology at Columbia University and international relations at Yale University. Before college, Hida spent a year in rural northwestern China as an English teacher. Hida, you have the floor for your presentation.
Thank you, Chima. Thank you so much to Nigeria WCAP's chapter. I am very, very honored to have been asked to speak to you on today, International Women's Day. Um, I know that Nigeria is a global leader and a powerhouse, not only in the region and on the continent. So it's very special to be able to speak with you um, today. And I will give you a heads up, and this is a little bit relevant to some of my remarks, that my daughter is here just having a snack next to me. She may interrupt a little bit of the remarks. But of course, one thing that really empowers women's participation and leadership in peace and security fields and in our communities is our ability to integrate childcare and other caring responsibilities. It's something that we have a lot more work to do, but I think the more we can provide opportunities for balance between caring responsibilities and professional leadership, I think the better not only women's leadership opportunities will be, but also our societies generally. So I'll just share a couple of reflections and um, talk, and also open if we want to have more of a conversation or if anyone has questions. Um, Again, very it's such a honor and opportunity for me to also hear from you and hear from your experiences. So I would very much appreciate that. So I'm thinking about mentorship and yeah, thanks. Okay. Mentorship and policy. She can, if you can see, sometimes wants to participate. Um, Thinking about mentorship and policy and um, how that can give us a better peace and security a field. First, there's talking about mentorship, and I'm reflecting on some of the opportunities for mentorship that I've had in my career. When I was much younger, there was a lot I had not experienced yet, and I ran into a lot of challenges, how to deal with something that was difficult at work. So there's just in terms of basic skill acquisition, um, in order to have an established women's leadership in the peace and security fields, um, we need women who have the skills and experience to lead in those fields. And so reflecting on some of my mentors over the years, helping me understand how to advocate, how to take in information and develop that into smart policy and then communicate that. These are important skills to have as a leader and as you advance in your career, and mentorship can help develop those. Asking whether it's women or men that you trust and admire for feedback on your work and advice about, how do I become better? How do I improve my skills? And then also how to deal with situations that are not skills based, just kind of tough situations. Um, for example, I don't know if anyone else has had experiences like this, but especially in the early days of my career, I felt that a lot of older colleagues sort of discounted me, um, didn't didn't think that um, I belonged in the room or something because of my age and because of being a woman. One supervisor at one point, I was the lead on a project and I came to present to her, and yes, it was a woman boss, to say, here's here's this thing that I've been working on, and here's my recommendations how we can move forward. And she kind of dismissed me and she said, oh, don't worry your pretty little head about it. And I kind of felt like that was, it was dismissive. It was kind of like, oh, maybe you're pretty, but you're not smart or something like that. So being able to talk that through with some of my mentors, and how do you deal with that, um, has been beneficial. And so taking that just from a personal experience and personal connection, um, how does that network of supporting women empower our communities as a whole to have better peace and security, um, be have more durable progress towards the goals that we're trying to achieve. Um, First of all, it's that skills development. It's that building confidence and connections. Um, and those connections are also ways that can help women get into positions of, okay, thank you, get into places of security. Don't want it. Mhm. Um, we talk often when we talk about mentorship, this is not a new idea from me. Excuse me, Mama. Okay, yeah, I gotta do this thing, okay? You can, but you gotta be quiet, okay? Yeah. Um, so there's also not just mentorship, but also sponsorship. And we often talk about how the distinction between mentorship and sponsorship. Mentorship is a mentor is someone that you can go to for advice, to help support you develop your skills. And then a sponsor is someone who is going to actively do things to help you advance in your career. They might select you for jobs or give you a recommendation. They might be opening doors or um, getting introductions for you to people that can help you, get positions or get opportunities. And I think both of them are very important. And the for sponsorship, um, it's an opportunity to increase women's participation and presence in fields that have historically been dominated by men, especially on the leadership level. Um, and why does women's leadership matter anyway? I think we've all been in situations where um, we've seen that a diversity a diverse group is more likely to come to the best conclusion, because certain things are considered, um, or there's different perspectives that go into the decision making. Currently, I work in global health. So here's an example from our work in global health is during the COVID pandemic. Um, we at the Gates Foundation were doing a lot to support development of vaccines. And some of the vaccine trials that we supported, the design of the vaccine trial was to have people who are participating in in the trial go to a clinic once a week, and they would, get their blood drawn and be measured and things like that to develop this vaccine to hopefully help save millions of lives. Um, and in some cases, in some areas, we saw that the participation rate for these studies was 95% men and 5% women. Well, when you think about it, in it in these places, it was less common for women to be able to leave the house, because of caregiving responsibilities, because of cultural norms, to be able to go to a clinic once a week. And what is the outcome of that? it is that the vaccine we have, we can't guarantee that it works on, more than 50% of the population for women because that's not what we studied. And if maybe some women had been involved in the trial design, then that would have um, prevented a lot of money and work going into a vaccine trial system that just doesn't work and doesn't get the outcomes that we want. I would argue that global health security is an extremely important part of the peace and security field. And so this is just a small example of how lack of women's participation and representation um, led us down the wrong road. So mentorship and sponsorship are really important in advancing individual participation and opportunities in peace and security leadership. And also the result of those opportunities are that we make better decisions with having women's participation. And then that's sort of on the social individual side. And then on the policy side, I think these are really important as well. Um, right now, being able to talk with you when I, have my daughter to take care of, um, it's those kinds of childcare. It's a recognition that women do across the world do the vast majority of childcare and other non-compensated work, other caregiving responsibilities, not just children, but elderly relatives and others. When governments and societies invest in caregiving systems, the return on investment is so much greater because it facilitates greater women's participation in the workforce. Um, that's one example of a policy that governments can work on from local to national levels to support to understand the actual on the ground reality of women's lives and make those investments that are going to pay dividends to society and to economies. Um, so there's a lot of opportunities that I think we've yet to realize in terms of facilitating women's leadership and peace and security. And I hope to hear from other folks on some ideas on policies that we can institute in our own communities and our own societies and ways that mentorship and sponsorship have helped you and ways that you think we can all do an even better job in mentoring and sponsoring young women to increase our leadership and participation in yeah in peace and security fields. So I will stop just talking and talking. And again, would love to hear from you. Feel free to introduce a little bit about yourself. I really am very curious to make these personal connections with WCAP's Nigeria chapter from all the way across the world in Seattle, Washington. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Hida, for that wonderful presentation. And I before while I did the citation, I failed to chip in that Hida is also the president of WCAP's Washington chapter. And having said that, I was able to grasp one thing that the government will have a better return on investments when women are involved in its affairs. I think now we leave the floor open for comments. Let's discuss. Let's discuss on the topic that Hida has dwelt on. So I leave the floor for comments or questions or whatever you have.
We did have some people who joined in just now. So Heather, if I could trouble you for a really quick recap for those who just joined, that would be great.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, so quick recap for everyone who just joined. I am currently at at the Gates Foundation, and I work on global health delivery. I've been at the Gates Foundation for 6 years across multiple teams, usually working on government and international affairs issues. And before that, I was a U.S. diplomat. I served in China, Japan, South Africa, and Washington, D.C. Um, and I'm currently based in Seattle, Washington, and lead the WCAPS Washington State chapter. Um, I talked a little bit about my thoughts on both mentorship and sponsorship, why it's important to have women's leadership in, um, especially in peace and security fields, but in any field, and how it's important to think about instituting policies that support women's participation, especially policies that support childcare and elder care responsibilities, and how investments made in that field can pay large dividends. And what I'd love to hear from folks about is any thoughts they have on a personal experience where mentorship was helpful or could have been helpful, a story about how they were a sponsor or someone sponsored them, but also just any thoughts about different policies that our communities can institute that can facilitate women's leadership. But also, if you just have any kind of career questions or curiosities about my my life and my career, or something that you'd like to share, it's just such a privilege for me to be able to connect with strong and accomplished women in Nigeria, because Nigeria is it's such an important country regionally and globally. So this is a big treat for me as well to have this conversation.
Thank you so much for that recap, Heather. I do actually have a question,
Mhm.
and it's one that I think we don't talk about enough, especially for those who are coming up in the field, because mentorship has been around for millennium. All know what that means. We all know that we need a mentor, even if we don't necessarily know how to get a mentor. But how do you shift from a mentorship to a sponsorship relationship? And what is the difference in terms of career level slash field that you should be looking for when you're looking for a sponsor versus a mentor? And then the last part of this question is, what is the difference between what a sponsor does versus what a mentor does?
Yeah, so I'll start with that last point, the distinction between a sponsor and a mentor. This is my own personal definition. So, I don't think there's a exact definition, but folks can look it up or think about what it could mean for their own lives. So, a mentor is someone that you can go to for advice, um, that you can, get information or get them to help develop your skills. Um, so think about, like, for example, you've got two different job offers and you're trying to decide which one to choose between. A mentor is someone who can help you kind of think through what might be the best choice for you, for your life, for your career, whatever it is. Let's say you are trying to get better at public speaking, at speaking to smaller, large groups. Is something that you haven't done as much before, but you know that in your career, this is an important skill to have based on where you want to go. A mentor could be someone who kind of gives you advice on how to develop your public speaking skills. Maybe they'll even listen to a speech you give, or invite you to see a speech that they give or something. It's kind of often um, it could be really specific, or it could be someone you just check in with from time to time and get their advice and thoughts about what's going on in your life. And then a sponsor is someone who can actually do something concrete for you to get to that next step, to get that opportunity, to get that new job. It's someone who may go out of their way to um, help advocate for that promotion, or um, say that, hey, this new job is opening and I can give you a recommendation for it. So someone who's going to kind of bring you up and help you with concrete opportunities. And in my career, I think that a sponsor is more likely to be someone you've worked with directly. If you kind of think about it the other way, I work at the Gates Foundation right now. As many people know, the global health and development sector is struggling, and a lot of people have. Yeah. I want my headphones. Okay, go find them. Um, a lot of people are struggling on the job market, and they've been reaching out to me, like, people who are a friend of a friend, or someone who found me on LinkedIn and want to ask me what it's like to work at the Gates Foundation. Um, do they have any advice on applying and things like that? And for those people, I'm happy to give them some information and my perspectives, but it's hard for me to be a sponsor for them if I don't know them personally. Like if I haven't worked with them, or I can't, we haven't built up that trust, I guess, is maybe the key point. So for a sponsor, it's got to be someone who can have trust in you, because you've developed that relationship, and you've kind of earned their trust, and so they can be your sponsor, and give you these opportunities. I'm not saying there's not people out there who will just be a sponsor to someone they don't know. I think it's just more likely to be able to seek out that sponsor relationship with someone you've developed trust and developed a relationship with. Um, so that's one difference. And for a mentor, I think you can cast a much wider net. It could just be someone you admire. You can reach out to them and say, for example, I'm looking for mentors, and I really admire you for these reasons. Are you willing to have um, have a 30-minute conversation with me once a quarter or twice a year or something? And it's just someone that you can bounce ideas off, get their perspective. I think it's for people you might have been reaching out to completely cold, or just have a not as strong a connection to. Um, it's important to kind of prepare for those conversations and have specific things that you want to ask them about. But that could be a way for you to just increase your mentorship um, opportunities, is reach out to people reach out to people you don't know, and give them kind of a concrete set of, like, this is what I'm asking. Like, I'm asking for, a conversation a couple times a year or something like that. So, so those are just some thoughts on kind of the practical how-tos of mentorship and sponsorship. And don't forget to be mentors and sponsors for other people, not just looking for mentors and sponsors for yourself. I think that not only is it a good thing to do and the right thing to do, but it also really helps you understand the flip side of it, and how to be a good mentee or sponsoree, what resonates and what works from the other side of that perspective.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Heather, for that's a wonderful response. So we still have the audience. You have something, you have questions to chip in, you have contributions to make on your experience being maybe a mentor or a mentee, the experiences you have had, and policies you think that relate to uh, why women should be involved, or policies that center on women involvement, especially in leadership positions. If you have any comment to make, or any question at all, you have the floor now to speak. Is there anyone raising her hand up?
There are no hands raised at this moment, but if you do have a question, feel free to come off of mute. Oh, yay, Stella.
Yeah, go ahead, Stella.
And if you find you can't come off of mute, please feel free to drop the question in the chat and we'll read it out to Heather.
Can you hear me? Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me appreciate the speaker, and I appreciate you also, Madam Chioma. My question goes this way. We are talking about mentorship. We're talking about relationship. We're talking about I think she mentioned something again. I want to ask.
Sponsorship, yes, sponsorship.
Yes, sponsorship. Okay, thank you. Is it? Today is International Women's Day. And then when we talk about mentorship, we're talking about somebody you can look up to, somebody you can meet, just like what she explained, somebody you can go to encourage you, help you make decisions when it is difficult. Is it wrong or is it wise? Let me put it that way. For the mentor of a lady, for instance, to be a man, or the mentor of a man to be a lady. Is it wise that in
Heather, you're on
mentorship,
mute.
yes, in mentorship, that
Yes.
yes, that the mentee can be of the other sex, while the mentor is the other sex? Is
Yes.
it a wise thing to do?
So I think it depends on the situation. And
Yeah.
for me, living in the US, in the places that I've worked, I've had many mentors who are men, and also many mentees who are men, and sometimes also sponsors as well. Um, and they have helped me, for example, with my skills, with looking for job opportunities. Um, and I think in an ideal world, you will have as many options for mentorship and sponsorship as possible. And I would say it's not wise to discount any mentor or sponsor, potential mentor or sponsor, just because of their gender or your gender. That said, there are some situations where you may consider um, that question of trust, first of all. Um, the how comfortable you feel with the person is important part of that relationship. And then there are other specific questions and challenges in your life that I think personally in my life, it might be very hard for a man to understand. Like, the theme of childcare and elder care, for example. Um, there is a huge global gap in between women and men who's doing more housework, unpaid work, childcare, elder care, and things like that. Um, and there are different places where that gap is much larger than others. Um, so I think that it depends on the question, and it depends on your individual relationship with the person. Um, I think, yeah, there's Andy put a comment in the chat that, you know, I gave you an example about that. It's important that a person, who that individual is. Like the story I shared earlier, just because my boss was a woman doesn't mean that she was going to look out for me and help give me opportunities, right? Instead, she was very dismissive. And on the flip side, my another supervisor I had kind of within that same organization who was a man was much, much more active in giving me opportunities and believing in me. So that is to say, generally speaking, I think you should not discount any person who could be a mentor or a sponsor if you trust them and you know them, you think they're a good person who will help, you admire them. Um, and then depending on what the situation is, you might specifically seek out a woman mentor because the question or the challenge you're facing at that particular moment, it might be that a woman can uniquely understand that.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, so just like in my own opinion too, I don't think it depends on the situation, just like she said. So I don't think the gender actually matters. But there might be peculiar situations where you feel it's a woman that we understand better. So you now, in that situation, you approach the person. But the thing I want to take out from what Hida said is that the trust should be there. Should be somebody you trust. You know you are able to confide in the person, and so the gender doesn't really matter in this situation. Do we have any more comments or contribution from the audience?
Yes, please. If I am
Okay.
heard.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, the speaker and our community leader. I came in here a bit late because we're having another meeting to mark the International Women's Day celebration. So we just hurriedly came in here, I and my leader, Dr. Rhoda Mwalozie. Hearing the discussion for this year's theme, which relates to mentorship, sponsorship, I just felt I should chip in something that I have watched over the last few years is causing some sort of confusion in my environment here in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. The political space, to be specific. I have observed a gap, a big one at that the people that should mentor when it comes to women getting into politics are not the people that are sponsoring or mentoring them. We all know how important political power is, especially for the female gender. It is when you hold political power that you're able to influence policies. We have researchers like the one that just spoke to us, Dr. Choma. They will do the needful researches, bring forth the results, but sometimes the political goodwill may not be in their favor for those investigations, the result of their investigations to be implemented. Thereby, it's always almost a wasted effort. And therefore, for the right women to be there at the forefront of policy making, they cannot do it successfully without some level of political participation and political power. Now, when younger women or even the aged one comes out to join politics, to make themselves available, their voices to be heard, you find the male folks that were just opportunistic to get to where they are, picking you up and telling you, I am your mentor. I am your sponsor. And they are almost always going to suffocate you, your good intentions, because you must do their biddings. You must, as a matter of necessity, do nothing but their biddings. And they will talk about loyalty. And the loyalty means that your senses must leave you. You must not have a voice. You must not have a say. They say, go there and scatter. You must do it. You dare not question, because if you do question, you are cut off. And so I want to use this medium to appeal to our women in good position, the ones that have gone through the rudimentary of leadership, the rudimentary of mentorship, to please be very intentional to get in and cover these gaps, to get in and close up these gaps, so that they'll be able to assist the younger generation of women that are coming in to find the right mentorship in leadership, politically, and most importantly. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Kate. So that was a call for action. One of the themes of this year's International Women's Day is rights, justice, and action. So this is a call for action on the women mentors to take their position and rightfully mentor the mentees. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you, Hida, for the wonderful presentation. We'll now move to the next section, which is the financial talk by Mrs. Komolafe. I don't know if she's on call.
Yes, she is.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much, and a happy International Women's Day to everyone around the call, including Hida's daughter. She let us know she's a lady and she's part of the the celebration today. Yeah, I want to thank the organizers again for reaching of well, for allowing a collaboration again this year to talk about something I'm so passionate about. This year's theme is Give to Gain. The question we'll be asking ourselves is, what do we have to give? And what do we gain by giving? I have 10 minutes, so it's not, I won't be able to, say as much as I would like to say to ignite action. But I hope that one or two of the pillars that I want to share would encourage the people around the call to take action or to do the necessary thing. My background is accounting. My background is finance. I worked in the bank and then I worked in oil and gas in the finance team. But since 2017, I've been working for myself. I left paid employment, and in addition to doing my own thing, I do finance coaching on the side. I have a passion to encourage as many people as possible to work on themselves, to build wealth, and to achieve financial freedom. And as you can expect, I'm equally passionate, or will I say even more passionate for women to achieve financial freedom, because as it is, we still have a long way to go. We're still, I would say, still at a disadvantage when you compare women building wealth to men building wealth. The question now is, what happens when we give a woman financial power? Because we have just very little time to talk, I'm just asking this question so that it can get us to think in the direction that I want us to think. When a woman has financial stability, financial freedom, financial power, the woman, especially in Africa, has a voice. I live in Nigeria, so I can talk about that. You give a woman a voice. When a woman is completely dependent on a partner, or even without a partner, if you're dependent on other people, you're not going to be as vocal as you should be. Not because you don't have the voice, but circumstances. We know how the power play works here in Nigeria. So it's very important that we all work towards financial freedom. One thing that I've seen in my relationship with people that I coach and I help is that some people hear these things and then they just go away, they do nothing. And then because mostly in Nigeria, the woman is also the housekeeper. I also mentor people abroad, and I see that the men begin to understand that they need to be co-housekeepers with their spouses if their families will thrive abroad. So people that live abroad, the men support, but mostly in Nigeria, you find that the woman is a housekeeper. She's got her career, she's got her job, she also has to function as a wife, as a mother, and God help you if you're married to a man who is very African in thinking. And the reason why I'm saying this is that we get so engrossed in these things, and then we don't focus on things that are possible. We don't focus on financial freedom, which is something that is possible. People get up, they go to their workplaces, just a cyclical routine. They just get up, they go to work, they get a salary at the end of the month, they spend on the family, and then they go again, they work for another month. People are not as intentional and as deliberate as they should be about financial freedom. Now, I want to share 6 pillars. I just thought to put it out here that we all know, or we should know, that there's a lot of benefit for us as women, for our daughters, our grandchildren, our granddaughters, to be empowered financially. They can do more, they can achieve more. And like the theme of this year says, it says, give to gain. If you don't have, then you can't give. You need to have the financial freedom to be able to empower yourself and empower people around you. Because I want to use the 10 minutes so well, I'll just go in straight to talk about 6 pillars that I want to share, and that I'm hoping that after this conversation, people will, focus on. So the theme is financial. The foundation of the conversation is financial freedom, and it's something that, like I said, my background is accounting and it's finance, it's banking. But I must be honest with you, until I took early retirement in 2017, I was not focused on building wealth the way that I should build wealth. And so this is why I'm passionate, and I say to people who I see running the way I was running without paying attention to creating and growing wealth on the side, that we have to pause. We have to stop, look around, design our futures, and ensure that in that design that we are aiming for financial freedom, because it is possible, but people just don't know. We are so focused on active income. We don't build passive income. But the essence of the conversation is to ginger us, no matter what we're doing, no matter where we're working, to understand that there is passive income, and to begin to pay attention to building passive income, because passive income is what will help you to achieve financial freedom. In simple terms, financial freedom is when you have enough money and income to meet your needs and your wants without depending on someone or depending on any active employment or business. It is your money working for you, putting your money into investments, and investments generating income, and then you have the income, the passive income from your investments to meet your expenses. Now, when we are in paid employment, or when we run businesses actively without asking money to begin to work for us, we're doing and working for active income. And that is where the majority of us are positioned. And that is where I was positioned until 2017, when I began to pay more attention to this. So it doesn't have to do with whether you have a PhD or your academic qualifications or even how widely traveled you are. It's just being intentional and being deliberate and understanding that it's something you want to work towards. Now, I'm going to share 6 pillars quickly. The first 3 pillars I'm going to talk about are the pillars that are in the model that I use in teaching people about money. It's called the ESI model. And so the E says you must earn more, and the S says you must save better, and the I says you must invest well. Those are the three parts of the ESI model. Now, for any more, every one of us, no matter what we're doing, and I'm teaching from mistakes that I've made. I can't, because it's such a short conversation. We must understand that whatever we are doing, whatever position that we are in, whatever we are earning, that there is a possibility to earn more. If you have an oil and gas remuneration, that money can earn more for you. But I also want to say that apart from the income that comes from paid employment, let's begin to think of what we can do on the side, especially because we want to be able to give not only when we're active, also in retirement. We can begin to design our retirement days to be a very comfortable one, where our standard of living will not fall beyond where we are at now, where we're earning income. So the first pillar that I want to share out of the 6 pillars this evening is that we must earn more. And it's something for us to take away from this conversation. We're talking about women having voices and being able to speak as men, being bold, being as empowered as men. And we're talking and saying we want to give so that we can gain. Now, if a woman is empowered financially, they say you give a woman, you give her a seed, she turns into a farm for you. Now, look around you. Is there a need for a service or a product? What can you do? And I recommend that people who already are comfortable or who have good jobs, this is the right time to think about what you can do on the side. Not when you lose the job, or not when you have maybe they give you 3 months notice or even 1 year notice to retirement. Then you're not going to take the decision as calmly as you should. So the first pillar out of the 6 I want to share this evening is that we need to earn more. We must have more than one source of income. Develop skills. What are you passionate about? One of my colleagues that we took early retirement together went on to have a PhD. He's an accountant like me. That's what he decided to spend his time on. But he also started an editing business where he edits. Can you see the contrast? An accountant who cans beans, as they call us, and someone who is now an editorial, who is now having editorial skills and editing magazines and literature and all of that. So what can you do to increase your earning capacity? I think I'll drop it there so that we don't overflog it and I don't lose time. But I do know that we can earn money from more than one source of income beyond where we are already earning. It can be a business, can be a passion, it can be a skill. It's something. You just ask yourself that question. And please remember, it doesn't matter how much you're earning or how comfortable you are today. Now, the second pillar is save better. No matter what we earn, we must put something away for saving. And if you're not intentional about saving, you're not going to save. And if you keep saying what you have in your hand is not enough, you will never start. When I coach, I say to people that if you cannot save when you're earning little, when you're earning big, it's also going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for you. Now, remember, I tried to define financial freedom earlier on, and I said it is when we put money to begin to work for us. I talked about passive and active income. You cannot have passive income if you don't save out of what you're earning from active income. You begin to save, you build up your savings, and then from there, you channel the savings into investments. Saving is very, very critical if you must achieve financial freedom and if you must grow wealth. Now, you must track how you spend. You must work with a budget, because those are the tools that can help you to know where you can have excesses that you can save. You can't, for example, say you want to take the whole of your last 3 months' salary, maybe you're pivoting to retirement or semi-retirement. You can't take the full salary and put it into savings. That's why you have to build it over time. because you can't just say, oh, I want to invest everything that I'm earning in a particular month. And one thing I like to say to people, especially professionals and people who are still in active employment like yourselves, highly placed people, is that retirement will happen. And many people don't prepare for retirement. Retirement will happen. Honestly, the best time to start preparing for retirement is even the first day that you start earning, because then you can gradually build it up and you're not under pressure. For you to save better, it's important that you also have emergency savings. We recommend that. And you are very senior people, you're professionals, so you're not like the artisans who always, run to people for help. But even then, we should have at least 3 months living expenses in a savings, not investment, in an account that you can reach out to. Now, I have resources on my website. My website is www.financecoachbk.com. I was going to share that, and I can still share it there. I have resources. I have articles targeted at women, specific articles to help women in the workplace achieve financial fitness. I also have articles that help finances in relationships. There are loads of resources on my website, and they're free. But the thing is, we need to create time to look at these things. So save better. So the first one is earn more. And the second one is save better. And I say we must begin to track our expenses. We must work with budget. We must work with tools that will help us know where we have surpluses so that we can save. And I also say it's important to have emergency savings. Invest well is the third pillar. And for invest well, and I do have conversations on my YouTube channel where I talk to finance experts. We take each topic and we discuss it and we break it down to help people. Now, invest well. What I will advise about invest well is that we must avoid investing mistakes. We must be careful. And, the keynote speaker, the main guest, talked about mentoring. We must be careful. We must avoid making mistakes. We must talk to people when it comes to money. If you want to invest, you must talk to people. And it doesn't matter how much you own or how wealthy you are. It's just important that you reach out to other people when you're investing and then you make less mistakes. So we don't just save, we save and we translate the savings into investment. And wealth building, we can only build wealth, we can only have financial freedom when we're able to save money and translate the savings into investments. And in investing, it's important that we know that there are 3 markets that we can invest in: the money market, the capital market, and the real estate market. One of the mistakes that I try to correct and tell people about, I was so fixated on money market. I was earning so well, and all of my funds, or I would say majority of my funds, were in money market, in the banks, fixed deposit. It was like that's the only investment outlet I knew at that time. And then I was so busy working, and there are so many mistakes, but we're not talking about today. So wealth building will happen when you invest right, when you make sure that you work with professionals before you make or take investment decisions. And some people don't want to talk to people around them because they don't want them to know the naira or the dollar that they have in hand. Reach out to people, even in the bank. Some of the major banks now will talk to you. They have financial advisors that can guide you on what to do or where to start your investment journey from. Quickly, the fourth pillar that I would like to put on the table for all of us to focus on, because I said I want us to focus on 6 pillars to achieve financial freedom and wealth creation, is the one on financial education. I kind of started talking about it with the last point on investing well. Now, how will you achieve financial education? I'm sorry, I missed the name, but the lady that gave the last comment on mentoring, she used the word deliberate and intentional. That women in high places, in positions, should begin to deliberately help mentor other women. So also with financial education, we need to be deliberate and intentional. I tell you, in spite of all that I know and that I have been exposed to, when I get opportunities to listen or join webinars where money will be talked about, I always join. And so I know we're busy as women, but if we are deliberate and intentional and say to ourselves that I want to dedicate 1 hour a week to learn something about money, be it that you want to find out what's happening with interest rates, exchange rates, or inflation rate, or you want to even understand the policy direction of Abuja, the CBN, what are they doing, what's happening. that 1 hour, honestly, you'll be surprised. It's either you get many more questions or you get answers beyond what you knew. But we are fixated on other things. We are fixated on bringing up and if children, raising families. We are fixated on, some of us, on healthcare, which is very important, our health, our fitness, and all of that. But we also must pay attention.
Sorry, Abimbola, to interrupt you, but please, you be cautious of time. We have already overshot our time. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just wrapping up now. So I was talking
Thank
about
you.
financial education. The other pillar is financial mentor. It's very important that we have someone that we can look up to and discuss our investment decisions with. And just like we're taught about mentoring, we should have financial mentors, but we also should mentor other people. And the last pillar is just that to encourage us to take action. Sometimes we hear these things and we don't do anything. If we are going to be able to give to others, if we want to give to gain, the question is, what are we giving? What are we giving up? And what are we gaining? There are lots of questions that come out when we talk about money, but we do know that there are benefits to growing wealth. We do know that there are benefits to being financially free. I want to encourage everybody. I work with a group of people. Since 2018, we do an annual workshop and it's free. It's just that it runs over 3 days. We bring people to talk about all aspects of money. And from those resources, from the people that come and talk at the annual workshop, anybody who is in our community can reach out and ask questions. For example, one of the speakers is based in the US. When I'm talking about US shares, I reach out to her. So please use any of our resources online and let it be that my community, the Finance Coach BK community that is empowering people and walking people towards financial freedom, is able to assist people in your organization. We are available to help and to support and to guide anybody in whatever way they can achieve financial freedom and wealth creation. I'm so sorry that I took time. It's difficult to say all of that within 10 minutes. And thank you again for hosting this webinar today.
Yeah, thank you, Abimbola, for that wonderful presentation. If I won't go home with anything, I'm going home with ESI. Earn more, save more, and invest. And the link that was dropped in the chat, is that your website?
It could or could not be fully correct.
Yeah. So I think anybody that wants to contact her should visit the link and get more information on what she has just discussed. Andrea, I don't know if you have anything, unless that is a wrap up for the day.
No, we just have our closing. Rhonda, I see that you have a hand up. Chioma, do we have like a minute or two to hear from Rhonda?
Okay, let's see, a minute or two.
Okay. Rhonda?
Yes, good evening. Good evening, dear sisters. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
I'm so excited to learn about this money, finance, money, and saving and investment. You know, I know that you save for tomorrow. You save for retirement. You are working. You are actively working, and you get to invest. But the issue is one, you are working in a place that you don't even have time to go for any other, because she mentioned that you don't earn in only one aspect. And probably you are working and you are taking your family, taking care of your home as a woman. You start early in the morning, you take your children to school, you went to let's say a teacher work that you close and go and pick them from school, you are in the market, you come back to close. So when will you save for the rainy day when you cannot go out to look for what to eat? And apart from that, you want to learn skill, you want to save, you need a capital to do that, to do investment. You need a capital to do it. And where can you get this capital? Because sometimes you go to the bank, their interest rate is too much, and then we need a capital before you can even get loan from the bank. So how can somebody now be able to invest or learn or get additional money apart from maybe that your teacher, private teacher job that they will pay you maybe very peanuts, or let's say even if as you are saying, university, oil and gas accounting, that you still go for other business. So what can you do? And you know that when you are doing some of all this online trading and so on, a lot of losses are there. So how can a woman be able to get money, because some women cannot be able to face what is happening in the politics, because the politics now is do and die. Either you live or you die, or you survive it. So how can a woman be able to get extra income apart from what, as a woman at, let's say, at a very low income level, very, very low income level. I'm talking about maybe your income cannot even be able to afford a within 2 weeks meal. So how can you get that? Thank you, my dear sister. That is my question.
Miss Komolafe, if you could answer that in the chat, that would be great. So that we
Yeah,
can
I just wanted to say that if she can reach out to me directly, Madam Rhoda, I would be so glad to steer you in the direction. You'll be surprised that there are some loans that are interest-free for women. Please connect via Dr. Adobe. I'll be so glad to link you up with the resources in my community.
Yeah. Also, I would say,
Thank you.
obviously, currency looks different in different places, but $1 a day is 365 at the end of the year. And so even if all you're putting away is pennies, eventually those pennies will add up. I want to once again thank everybody for the time that they took today. This was our first meeting of the year for the Nigeria chapter, and we're so happy to see all of you and to see that engagement is still high, and we're so very thankful for your participation. Just two quick announcements from WCAP's main office. One, we will be doing a training series this year on select Saturdays. The call for that will be going out on tomorrow. If you have not signed up for WCAP's membership, please do. We have also launched paid membership because it's hard out here in the granting sector. Ain't got no money for the work that we do. And so we're looking to diversify our streams of income so that we can continue to provide programming and things like this. Lastly, we also have what we call the Global Peace and Security Learning Exchange, which is hour-long career talks that focus on different niches within international relations, peace, and security. That call for speakers will also go out on tomorrow. So if you are interested in donating an hour of your time for an hour to 2 hours of your time for either of these engagements, please do check the newsletter. And if you are not receiving the newsletter, do make sure you have signed up directly to WCAPS for membership so that you can be included in that list. And we will also be scheduling a call for Nigeria chapter members that goes over the paid membership scheme, why we did it, how much it costs, and what benefits there are associated with it. Once again, I want to thank you all, and I want to thank Prof in her absence for continuously steering the WCAPS Nigeria chapter, and for Nosa for all of the work that she does, as well as all of our other folks, Chioma for being on the call today. And I do believe Dr. Ene is here. There's a couple of folks from Nigeria chapter leadership who are here, and we are always thankful for your presence. And with that, Chioma, if you have any last words, I hand it over to you to close.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea. And thank you for everyone that attended today's meeting. And I hope you have been able to gain one or two insights into the topic of the day. And with this, we call it a wrap for today's activity. Wishing you all a happy International Women's Day celebration, and good night.
Ramadan Mubarak, and have a good
Good
iftar.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. God bless you all.